That's right. I'm live. I'm live. You're going to have to wait a minute while I boot up my other machine. Oh, shit. There we go. There we go. Real nice. Pop out the chat because I want to do some chatting. Okay. Now, can you hear me? I need to know if you can hear me. Tell me all about it. Tell me about your day. What have you been doing? I'd like to know what everybody's doing right now. The cat is quiet and asleep because that's what cats do. They don't bother me. They don't bark. They don't try to gnaw at my legs. So that's what I'm doing. All right. Let's get everybody loaded up here. We got people watching X-Men. We have, what the hell else we got doing? We got temperature, 97.7. That's actually high. Isn't the new standard like 96 or something? They've lowered it. Somebody's working. Hashtag dad bod. No, this thing is steel. This chassis that I'm dealing with, this body, pure steel. Pump and iron. Yeah, that's a lot of good stuff. Uber and Lyft in a GTI. That's a good idea. Yeah, I don't wipe down the press cars. Let me tell you about the press cars. They are disgusting. What people do in these things is just filthy, and it builds up my immune system. So I'm pretty well off. Looking in dealer incentives, yeah, that's a pretty good time if you don't have to worry about a job or anything. Just buy stuff. Let's get this economy going. Let's make it great again. All right. So let me get into my spiel first, and then we'll get into the questions that you are desperately wanting to ask and throw out there. So here we go. The purpose of this live stream is to talk about two things. One is Tech Wednesdays. What does that mean? Well, every Wednesday there's going to be a tech video. That's what it means. Long story short. And I've wanted to do this for quite a long time, and now I'm going to. Oh, let's put these away, by the way. We don't need that. Anyway, yeah, so Tech Wednesday is going to be finally I'm doing stuff on electronics, because electronics and other stuff car-related, other stuff not car-related, and it's going to be not what you would typically see from tech videos. You're going to see some more interesting stuff, and it's mostly for my own amusement, and which should translate quite well to that additional video. And one of the main reasons is, now that I'm not in a tech job anymore, this is a good way for me to keep connecting with my old brand reps, my old connections in that industry, to do some videos about that crap. And considering the fact that most cars are now becoming giant rolling, I don't even know what you want to call them, but they're getting more and more electronic. I think we were joking around last time that there's 67 ECUs in some of the modern luxury cars, or body control modules. So, nothing is not, basically every single function of a car is now, software. So this is why I want to get back into that. That's what you're going to start seeing Wednesdays, probably every other Wednesday. It's whenever I feel like it. I make my own rules here, and that's what you're going to learn. Now, what else we got? Yes, we got this meet. It's a meet and greet meet, and I'm not officially announcing it here. I'm just telling you that it was completely planned, and it was going to be marketed and announced, and now I'm not going to do that. But the idea is June 21st. So This is a very loose save the date in Joliet, Illinois, and that's assuming that the world does not end. It will be that date. And we have YouTubers from around the country that have committed to being there. Also, it will include a track day for people that bring their own cars. I have manufacturer support, so I can take people around and manufacture vehicles and some other people. So you can experience some of these cars we constantly talk about being amazing, and you have to experience it. So it's manufacturer supported. We have the track support. We have go-karting, where, if this is assuming this doesn't get canceled, which it's not official, you have go-karting where you can basically qualify all day. And at the end of the day, the fastest viewers or spectator, whatever you want to call yourselves, lovely people, you get to qualify. The fastest 20 times are going to compete against the media or the YouTubers or whatever people start calling us now as influencers. That's what mainstream media is referring to us. So you'll get to compete for real at the end of the night, and there will be a trophy, assuming this all goes through. And the first prize trophy will be presented by myself, a signed toilet seat. And this is not going to be an average toilet seat. This is going to be a premium brand, ultra premium brand. And we're going to make things happen for you. And again, June 21st is kind of the save the date. And again, that may not happen. We all know what's happening right now, and there's better things to worry about. So that's what I wanted to tell you. Tech Wednesdays, meet and greet June 21st at Joliet, Autobahn Country Club, maybe. More details to come. And now, I'm not going to waste any more of your time. We're going to start. So let me take a look at these questions. What do we got here? What do we got? Okay, I'm going to get to these people that, holy Christ. Now, I really want to say your name right. Dejoul? You just donated $99 to wish my family best to your family and appreciate the content. I don't even know what to do for you. I have no idea. I thank you. I would like to take my clothes off, but then everybody would leave the chat, and because they would be pretty jealous of this rock hard. I can't even flex anymore. I'll tear this right in half. But thank you again. That's going to pay for my toilet paper and paper towels for sure. Now, let's get into some the other question. $5. This is also a very important comment because it's critical. Concrete Coma for $5 just said, I'm still mad at you. You sharded all over my Ranger. I don't know if I'm going to take it back for $5. For $5, I might change a few things I said about it. I'm sorry. I still don't like the Ranger. Or at least the one I had was a junk. Maybe yours is better. I don't know. Let's hook up. We'll drive it again. We can tow my toilet. My old toilet I just installed to the dumpster. All right. Oh yes. Tech Wednesday, one of the first videos is going to be about the Toto S550e washlet with heated seat, multiple spray options, onboard heater. What else we got? We got feminine spray. We have the butt spray. We have an air filtration system. It comes in, it lights up when you walk in the bathroom. I mean, it's just one of the most heart-stopping experiences you will ever have, and I'm going to get you right in the bowl with me. So that's a Tech Wednesday video. All right. What else we got here? Andy the Lab. You know, Andy, I know you're a dog. I can't speak dog. Lifetime supply of ribeye. No, that's way too costly. And you know what? That could really cause some greenhouse gases, me raising those types of animals just to supply you with a lifetime of ribeye. Andy the Lab, will be at this meet, assuming everything goes to plan on June 21st. You'll get to meet this wonderful animal, and you'll get to test to see if Andy, the dog, can get in your car and will pass the test. Hopefully, Andy will not be sick and puke in your vehicle. But, if she does, well, then that's your fault. You have to sign a waiver to get Andy in your car. I'm not paying for that. Have you replaced the Civic yet? Okay, this is actually a really good question by Johnny Nimble. Johnny, so I was in a T-bone collision. Okay, I pulled out. This dude did not have his lights on. And I have surveillance video that I lost in court because I couldn't use the video and supporting evidence. So I lost in traffic court, but now it's all through insurance. But anyway, long story short, this dude was driving in the wet in a Dodge Grand Caravan and T-boned me in the Civic and totaled it. Luckily, I was hurt. Go figure, at 45 miles an hour, getting hit in a 98 Civic on the driver's side was not a lot of fun. It was, how do I put this? I've been in accidents before, and it's a matter of when. It's just going to happen if you put a lot of miles on. But it hurt so bad initially that I honestly thought that I was seriously fucked up. And luckily, I walked away with just basically a really sore sternum and from the door panel coming into my arm, just some scrapes. So I got away lucky. But now I have all the hospital bills and all the other bullshit. You're going to love this. I'm going to get into the car thing in a second. So I got my ER bill. I was in the ER for 3 hours, not even 3 hours. I had a CT scan of the neck and of the brain, and I had a dilaudid drip, which I didn't even feel anything. So it was like I was hoping to get fucked up, but nothing. I felt nothing. And typical blood work, CMP, shit for your heart. And I got the bill, and I could not believe the bill for 3 hours just for those tests. Now, if I went to the doctor's office and did them on my own, it would probably be like $6,000 or $7,000. This bill was $22,000 for a 3-hour trip to the ER. That's excluding the ambulance ride for another $1,600. And what else? There was some other bullshit fees from the county. So $22,000. I'm sitting here thinking, what if it was an MRI? What if I had to have surgery? What if it's a broken bone? This shit was nuts. Yes, I have insurance, like health insurance, which covered $20,000 of it, but I'm out of pocket for $2,000. Whatever, crazy stuff that I didn't want to deal with. But here we are. Now I've had to decide on what car I'm going to get, and I decided to wait. Go figure, because of what's going on right now. I could be a bum in a cardboard box with everything going on. But I was looking at 2 different vehicles. Well, 3. The LC 500 used, not going to happen, not practical. And I got 2 other piles that I never drive. The other one was, I pretty much decided on a GSF because it's 4 doors. I need 4 doors and it's a V8. Or I was looking at an LS 500 with the executive package, which is all the massaging seats and shit. But the resale value on the LS is like garbage. So I don't want to spend all that money and then have it keep tanking. Whereas the GSF, if you look on the used market, there's like 50 of them in the country. So whatever I buy it for, I'm going to be able to sell it for, which is good. The last one I started looking at, which is really weird, I found an XC90, which I know Andy, the lab, rides in. An XC90, a 2019 CPO'd with the CPO warranty, which is like 100,000 miles unlimited mileage they do. And that was... my God, it was like I talked them down to like $48,000 for this. And I'm like, again, I know I'm going to sell it in a couple of years and I'm going to lose my ass on it. So I decided to do nothing, but that's where my mind was after I got the Civic totaled. All right. What else do we got? I'm going to kind of skip through some of these questions here, make it quicker. The Suburban, Mr. Pink for $2, 2021 Chevrolet Suburban. Yes, I have finally some Chevys coming up, which I told Jack I want nothing to do with the Chevy Equinox, but Scott will be in that video. So it's going to be, I have to be careful with that one because it'll ruin my chances of getting a Suburban. Mario K says, best channel on YouTube. Well, Mario, he's given me $9.99. Can you believe that? Just to tell me that. Okay. Thank you. I'll take it. I don't think I'm the best channel on YouTube, though. What else we got? Say $5. Please say the E39 M5 is better than the 2007 E92 335 on my stream. My buddy Chris is watching and his 335i is broken. I will say that the E39 M5 is a better car. I like the E9. Well, I don't like the 335. I just never did. I just don't know why. I never liked the motor. And the M3 is more exciting of that generation, but there's something about that E92 that is amazing and completely boring at the same time. And it's like too luxury for, I don't know. It's like that weird thing where they were trying to go luxury and you don't feel much. I don't know. Well, in retrospect, it was pretty badass. What else we got? Jake Krause, saving them my precious TP with the Toto. That's correct. I am saving toilet paper by using washlets. And sadly, I still have to use toilet paper because I'm some type of silverback gorilla that even with a hose on myself, that somehow I'm still messy. All right. Kyle Shearer retracted his message, but I still get $5. No, actually, no, he did put something here. Yes, straight pipes GSF is a huge win. ISF, obviously, Jacob came from that vehicle and he knows the power of it. It's last thing I'm going to say about that. The GSF is definitely not the best car on the market. Okay, it's not the best sports car. It's not the best luxury sedan. All of that. The interior is weird. The infotainment sucks. The ride quality is not the best. It's not the fastest thing. It doesn't have the best transmission, but it's got a V8. It's naturally aspirated, properly cooled, and it doesn't break. And it doesn't lose its value. Okay, that's the big thing. All right, let's get to the other ones. I'm getting a divorce. Is it okay to go buy a Miata? Brian Vance. Yes. Get a Miata. Just make sure you fit in it because you'll look stupid if you're like 6'7" hanging out of the top of it. Kyle, here's your real question. Have you driven a 6-speed manual Toyota Corolla or a 5-speed manual basic Subaru? If so, which one rides better? I think the Subaru is softer. I think it rides better overall. I mean, if you're talking about like normal driving, not performance driving, I feel like the Corolla, the 6-speed, I like the 6-speed. It's again, it's modern manual transmissions. It's average, but it's good for what's out there now. And I liked it. And the Corolla handles way better in terms of like sporty driving. It's like if you're driving faster, it just feels more stable. There's less body roll. It doesn't feel like it kind of wants to roll over itself as much as the Subaru. So those are the things. You want softer ride, you go Subaru. If you want more fun is relative. The Corolla hatch is pretty good. Now, Exhaust Sports Auto, my boy, $2, bro. I like that. It's real money here. We'll add 98 more when I make it big. Oh, you're going to make it big. Don't stop. Don't stop going for your dreams. You know what your dreams are, right? Because I know. I've been in your bedroom watching you sleep at night. Just go for them. You'll make money. Lots. And then you give me $98 more to make it an even 100. That's what you're going to do. Okay. Kevin, what do we got here? Kevin? Nukowitz? It's a hard one, man. Sorry if I slaughtered it. Thanks for all the great content. Any experience with the Porsche Cayenne plug-in hybrid? No, but I'm supposed to be driving the non-hybrid soon, which will then lead me into a hybrid. And our press trip got canceled with Porsche, like everything else. So I will get there, and I will gladly tell you everything about it. But I'm pretty impressed with Porsche stuff, like everybody else on the planet, aside from the price tag. So sorry, Kevin, I couldn't give you a really good answer. Andy, the lab, who else is going to be at the meet? Okay, since this is everything's done and planned, but the meet is not official. You're going to have Micah from Kelly Blue Book, or Micah Drives. You're going to have the Straight Pipes, Engineering Explained. You're also going to have Andy the Lab, Matt Moran Motoring, Chicago Auto Pros, Forest Auto Reviews, and Manufacturer Support. And we might be adding a couple more people, but again, I'm not going to talk about this until life goes back to normal, because I don't want to promise something I can't deliver on. Thank you, Andy. Don't worry. We'll get you in the back of my car. I don't even have a car. Dominic Mitri just gave me $5, and I can tell you one thing. His avatar is an ST logo. So hopefully you drive a Ford Edge ST and you're driving over curbs at empty parking lots right now. Any air-cooled Porsches in the near future? Yes, actually, Jack is working on some of that. We're going to have some older, weird shit. I think he's got some Ferrari lined up from the 90s, like early 90s, from a guy that all he does is work on these, a mechanic, and he is salty as hell. And he's going to tell us all about, like in the shop, how bad these things, how big of a piece of shit they are. I have to work on them like every 3,000 miles. So there's going to be more of that in the spring. And yeah, so Porsches are on there as well. What else we got, guys? Brad. Where are you, Brad? I just saw you. Stupid thing. What do you think of Consumer Reports predicted reliability scores? I think predictive reliability, or like the JD Power stuff, where it's like assumed reliability, is bullshit. I don't know how else to put it. The only way to really know reliability is to put miles on it and put those cars in the hands of real drivers for things to really come out. You'll find out cost cutting right away. Like Scott talks about, he's always talking about how cars are just made to be pieces of shit. They cost cut the hell out of them. And then he has to go fix them. And he's like, what the hell happened here? And most of the time it's just, they tried to cheap out. That's something that, unless you're taking apart an entire car and reverse engineering it, you're never going to know that. So that's what I think about. You got to get miles on it. The best predictor is the previous generation. If it's carrying over the same transmission and same motor, and it's got all these same similar design, it's going to have a lot of the similar problems, unless they made manufacturing improvements. That's the worst part about car buying. Companies don't have to divulge any of this information. They don't have to tell you what problems they had. And this is a great discussion. Who's bothering me? Hey, Ted? Okay. Yeah, just take them out of the dryer. I mean, I don't know how holes got in them again. Yeah, there was some puffing going on, but this shouldn't be blowing holes in it like that. All right, just get them out and bring them upstairs. Thanks. So it's a rigged system, because manufacturers, like, you see all these recalls and all this stuff, and we don't know as consumers how many cases, like, we question, okay, oil consumption is a great one. We talk about oil consumption all the time with cylinder deactivation. A manufacturer will never tell us how many cars actually came in, how many were serviced for it, what the resolution was. We're never going to know. So it's very difficult. That's all I'm going to say. It's very frustrating. All right, let's get on to the next one. Winstow 25, why do you always wear Patagonia Nano Air? I don't know. I have no idea. It's my friggin' costume. I have 4 of these in multiple colors, and because it's cold all the time here, I don't want to wear a long sleeve shirt, so I wear a t-shirt. So I'm basically in my summer wardrobe underneath, and then I put this on to warm me up. That's it. That's what it is. All right. Stephen Turner. Or Stephen Turner, Mad VTech, yo, love your channel and your opinions align so often. I'm an OG Honda guy as well. Yeah, I know. You want to know who I just talked to? Honda Pro Jason. Yeah, and I had a good conversation. I never talked to this guy before, and we talked about some stuff, and it made me think, I'm getting my S2000 kind of fixed up right now, paint and shit that I screwed up. And I'm thinking, I really can't wait to drive that car again. It's one of those few cars that I think about. I'm like, I really have an affinity towards that. So I guess that makes me an OG Honda guy. And I like, obviously, like real slow 4-cylinder cars. Rick B, I have a 2016 BMW M235X. Do I have any experience with this car? I think you would like it. Yes, I drove it. And there's something about the 2 Series that's really just, it's more of a pure driving experience. I don't know. It's kind of like, it reminds me of the older BMW before they kind of took this different turn. So I do like driving it. Again, it's one of those cars that you look at the initial sticker and you're like, man, how is it worth that money? But if you get it right, you buy it right, or you lease it, or you get a used one, it's, you know, a great choice. What else we got here? We got MK5 Life. Your thoughts on older Volkswagens? I drive an MK5 GTI, and a lot of people say it drives better than the newest one. Jack had an MK5 GT5. I drove it when it came out, but I never spent a lot of time in it. That architecture before the newer ones, I felt like they were more compliant or softer. They were less, how do I put this? They felt just lighter on their feet, and it felt like it rode better. It had more of like a 2000s feel to it, and all the new bodies, the new architecture, MQB, all of those feel the same. And some of them just feel stiffer than they need to be. And the Golf is like a really kind of still a good blend of it, but there's just something that the older ones have that's kind of intangible. I think if you came from older cars, like if you're big on like the 90s and 2000s, like sport compacts, you'll feel more connected to that than you do the newer ones. That's all I'm going to say about that. Your MX5, Josh Ruiz, $5. Your MX5 series videos brought me to your channel, so I'm a fairly new viewer. What's with the guy rubbing oil on his arms at the end of the videos? So that's Todd with 3 Ds. Todd is constantly trying to get people to unsubscribe, unfriend, unfollow. And in fact, I'm gonna show you something here, and you're not gonna be able to see it very well because of the reflection. I'm gonna bring something up for everybody. Let's see if I can find it. I'll just make you that. So that's Todd's arm flexing. Okay, he's all oiled up. He's working out there. I'm going to find this one clip. You're just going to have to wait. He likes to bench press like scooters and just everything. I think I'm almost there. Yeah, he's lifting. This guy is just shredded. This dude is just shredded. Z-Cav. I know you're getting bored.
So the Midwest, you got.
Yeah, so the story with Todd is he hates me. He hates that I'm wrong about everything, and he wants you to unfollow, unsubscribe, and unfriend me. That's what he wants you to do, and he's constantly trying to do this.
Right here.
I can't find the clip, so I'm not going to waste your time. But anyway, he just doesn't like me. All right. That was a really sad way to do this. Kevin, I didn't butcher your last name. Holy shit. Thank you. I did a good job on that one. Justin Davis, do you like big black cars? Yes. The bigger, the better. Jay White, thoughts on a future trans in the C8? Future manual transmission in the C8. Chevy said no C7 ZR12, and that happened. I don't believe anything Chevy says, personally. I think it would be very difficult for them to fit a manual trans in the new design of the vehicle. Every other mid-engine car besides the Lotus Evora has a manual transmission that's mid-engine, that's modern. You can correct me if there's another one I'm missing, at least available in the US. So it's possible that they do it. I just don't see them spending the development money to do it. But again, I don't know with Chevy. They're on a different planet. And it depends on the economy. Like Ford is really good at that. They say they're not going to do stuff, and then there's like 75 different editions of the Mustang. So I'm going to guess that there's going to be a ton of different versions of the C8 because they're going to be making the C8 probably for the next 25 years to make their money back on that the development costs. Mr. G, what is your opinion on leasing? Appreciate your channel. Absolutely. Anything over 40,000 now, I would absolutely lease, unless it's something like we were talking about earlier, like the GSF. You're probably not going to lose as much money on that. Cars that don't have like depreciation that tanks, like certain, like the GT3 Porsche, right? Of course, if you keep the miles low, it's going to hold its value pretty good if you buy it right. But most of these mainstream cars that, you lose 30-40% over the first 3 years, you want to lease. I like the XC90 is a perfect example. It's almost a $65,000 buy, and then you look, I can find 2016s for like $35,000. That's a perfect lease vehicle. So that's what I would say about that. Chris Locus, where's Scott Tabrowski, and when is he returning back to the show? He will be in the Chevy Equinox video, and we'll talk about it then. I'm going to leave it at that. He and I, ever since we've been practicing some social distancing. What else we got? Boy, I got to do a better job at this, brah. Sinjin K, $20. Come on. That's serious money. Okay. I ordered a 2020 BMW 440i rear-wheel drive ZF Auto M Sport adaptive M suspension and executive package. It's a daily. Thoughts on the B58 engine and trans? I don't care about depreciation or resale. I think as we're finding out, the B58 and that ZF automatic is a really good pairing. I mean, there's very few issues with it, and pretty much all the like the 2020 BMWs I've driven, aside from certain like the M5s and some of these M cars that just are so confused about their identity. If you're a BMW person, BMWs have the best out of the luxury brands, the best driving dynamics, because it's all 50-50, pretty much 50-50 cross weight if you don't have a V8 in it. They're really balanced. They're really nimble. They're just very kind of isolated. You feel like you're in this video game, but everything reacts the right way. It has they have one of the best automatic transmissions. The motor's really strong. Tuning options are good. My issue with modern BMWs is I feel like out of every brand, they are the stiffest riding. They are the firmest riding, and in some cases, you're like, why is this so firm? I wish they had like that comfort mode that really went like soft, and it would fix a lot of those problems. But it is one of the best driving cars if you want like that luxury car thing going on that they're doing. So that's what I'm going to say about that. CX Dragon, what do you think about the Mercedes E63S 2018 to 2020? I drove it on track a couple times, and I need to get that thing on the street. And then I've talked to Mercedes about it, and it's supposed to be in the fleet this year, and I'll have a kind of a better feel. It's one of those, there's something like really fun about that car while being overtly serious. It's like very serious, but also fun. I don't know. It's like there's something about it when you get into it. Like if you've been in a lot of like sports, like the sports car stuff, like Mustangs and these Challenger Hellcats and all that, those are like, okay, you know what you're getting going in. And then you get in the Mercedes and you're like, it's got some of that, like this muscle car-ish feel to it. And then you're like, what is all this electronics and all this shit in here? And it's not as, I wish it was just pure stupidity and they'd strip a lot of it out, but I really enjoyed driving it. And on track, I'm like, this is hilarious. It's a really fun car. So that's what I'm going to say about that for right now. Mike J, Honda S2000 or C6 Corvette looking for a second track or weekend car. Oh man. Well, if you've come from V8s, if you're always been a V8 person, you're going to hate the S2000. It's just slow in a straight line, but it's one of the most rewarding cars to drive in other ways that other cars can't really reproduce, but you're sacrificing torque. You can make up all this work in corners. If you're on a tight track, it's one of the most amazing cars you'll drive. But as soon as you get in that straight, every car will blow by you. And then, okay, we're going to brake, catch up to them. So it's constantly this losing effort if you're using it as a track car, which can be frustrating. So I'm going to say V8s. If you've driven V8s, just get a C6. You'll be happier with that. Brian Cluth, Infiniti FX50s with the 5-liter V8 from the LMP3 race car would be a fun review. It would be, if somebody's going to give that to me, because Infiniti is like, it's weird. There's not a lot of Infinitis out here by where I'm at, so I would have to ask somebody for it. James Adler asked, do you miss working in tech? I'm going to tell you right now, no. And this whole thing with what we have going on in society right now, getting shut down, everybody's working from home. One thing I know for sure at my old job we'd be doing is playing damage control with network security, because all the people remoted in. We'd have to deal with VPN licensing, routers, firewall issues, all this shit that I absolutely would not want to deal with. And then, of course, the budgetary thing. Like, I talked to my CDW rep, and he's just like Gary. And, it's a good time because a lot of companies are spending money to deal with this. But I heard stories from him. I just talked to him about like my old job and some of this old stuff that's going on, like just philosophy and tech and how people are. And I don't miss it in that regard. If I would go back if I really needed to, but it's not something I would be very passionate about unless I was like co-owner of a tech company where I was getting something back from it and not just investing in like spending my life like 24/7 support for a lot of this shit for somebody else. I couldn't do it anymore. Nick, $5. Love the content and unbiased reviews. By far the best car reviewer on YouTube. Also, what's your opinion on the 2019 Colorado ZR2? I only rode passenger in it. I didn't drive it. And I really wish that I would have driven it. I was a big fan of the Colorado when it came out. I feel like that truck is super refined. It's still not enormous. But the ZR2 kind of just takes it up to that level that you would expect. I personally can't say much more than that. I don't know about reliability. I don't know how they're holding up. But the initial first like 3 model year Colorados felt really good, like solid to me. But that's it. Sorry, man. Altair Auditore or Auditor. $5. Do you see any cheap, affordable hot hatches coming in the future to match that of the Fiesta ST fun-wise? Or was the Fist the swan song here in the States? At this point, I know that they're talking about the Yaris, which technically we don't have in the States. We get the Mazda 2 Yaris thing. So that's not what they're doing. So other than that, I don't see anything. I think the closest thing is like the Veloster N, and that's not anywhere near the Fiesta ST. So I think that's a one-off. I can't imagine you seeing it anytime in the near future with gas prices being down, everybody's obsession with big cars. There's no point of bringing those cars here or making a specialty one, sad to say. Ryan Strunk, $20. Well, I'm sorry, $19.99. I can't give you the 20. Am I crazy for daily driving a GT350? No. I mean, fuel economy blows. I mean, I'm sure your engine's eating oil, maybe, but no. I think that's one of the best cars I've driven in a long time, and I know that it's got its problems, but it's just an amazing car. So drive it, just don't lose your ass on it. You know, that's the thing. You're going to pile up miles and nobody's going to want it. But if you're keeping it, enjoy it. Chim Chim Lippy. Toyota 4Runner redesign coming in 2035. Yeah, probably. Or 2050, depending. Toyota doesn't really have a lot of things on the roadmap, their roadmap for trucks, which surprises me. How much BMW will it be? Also, HK VP9 or Glock 19? That I can't answer you. I may look like I'm loaded full of guns, but I fire weapons, but I don't. Well, that's not true. I have 2 guns that were just passed down to me that literally have sat under my dad's bar for like, it's a sawed-off shotgun. It just sits there, and like sometimes I'll go down there and just cock it for no reason other than that. But I'm not one to talk about guns, even though I just bought 50 of them. I'm so scared right now. I need guns. Will the 4Runner be a BMW? No, not unless BMW makes trucks, which you never know. Responsible Paul, since you were in an accident, I would love to offer you a back rub. I don't live too far. Call me or I will unsubscribe. Yo, hit me up on my DMs, bro. My back's real sore right now. And my pecs. Actually, no. I would take a back waxing over a back rub. All right, we got, what do we got? The Squid, thoughts on the Audi RS3, possible review in the future. I love the RS3, and yes, it will be in the future. They've changed hands, the fleet company that I'm getting, whatever. You don't need to know the back end. Point is, it will be in the fleet. I have to get special approval to get it here, of course. Go figure. But I really like Audi stuff. I don't know why. I will go into that, though, in that video, and I actually have a Q8 right now that I'm going to talk about why they do so many things so good. But anyway, that's it for that. Scott Colpitz, any opinions on Alex Roy's Human Driving Association? Okay, I'm going to copy and paste this, and I'm going to open up another browser window, and I'm going to pretend like I know what we're talking about. Okay, so this is a lot, and I can't possibly tell you all about that in this type of thing. But once I do some more research on Alex Roy's opinion on that matter, I saw things about driverless cars and how driving's a right or not a right. It's a privilege, not a right. So that part, I agree, but I have to do more about reading what he's talking about. I'm sorry. Frank retracted his message, probably because he was angry with me. Christopher Locus. Thanks for the answer on Scott. Would a 370Z be a good project car for a weekend track? Yeah, depending on what you're going to do with it. I mean, 370, if you're doing a track day, that thing, it's neat. Like, there's so many guys doing videos on 370s and 350s because you can get them for cheap. The motor's really reliable. The manual trans is decent, but it's like every other car. You got to do brakes. It's heavy. You got to deal with cooling issues, all the things associated with that. Just make sure you know what you're doing and how you drive. Like, if you know you're going to be really, really hard on fast tracks or tracks that don't have a lot of like cool down, you know you're going to have to budget more money for like certain elements of driving that car. But I think the 370 is really solid. I think it's going to be a lot more popular once it goes away. And I talked about that in my video that I did. Once it's gone and there's not a lot of like Japanese rear wheel drive cars that are pure Japanese, people are going to like it a lot more. Kevin, 999. Thanks for answering my S2K question a couple months ago. Do you have a favorite comedian? Stay healthy, man. Yeah. You know what's weird? I think I probably, after the Chicago Auto Show, which was like the start of all this shit, and that was in February, about 4 or 5 days later, I got basically every symptom of, the 19. And like I had flu-like symptoms, but it wasn't the flu. I had upper respiratory, like bad cough, and I dealt with it like over 4 days. But I always wondered if that's what it was. But of course, there's no real test for antibodies. I'd love to know if I have antibodies for it or if I could just test for that. But again, this is the problem with it. Like most people don't go. And like when they're sick, like normally when it's in a normal situation, if you have a cold, you just kind of deal with it. If you have the flu, you go lay in bed. You don't run to the doctor. And even when you run to the doctor, they're like, you got a virus, dude, just go lay in bed. They don't test you, like there's not like oh, here you go, this is what you have. That's not the way healthcare works anymore. So like, I don't even know, like I may have gone through it already, but I think a lot of people are struggling with that reality. My plan is to stay even more healthy. You know how I'm going to do that? I'm going to hide. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to hide I'm going to practice some social discrimination is what I'm going to do. If you don't drive a $200,000 car, I don't want to talk to you. I'm only getting in Ferraris, Lamborghinis. I'm only going to get in cars that have a great vinyl package on the outside, matte paint, or logos. That's the only way I'm going to deal with you because I don't trust anybody else. Let's go on to the next question. Are you going to continue doing the podcast? Andri, ISK. Well, oh my God, no, that's 300. I don't even know should I know what that currency is? Let's not talk about it. It's going to make me look even more stupid than I am right now. Are you going to continue doing the podcast? Yes, I have 2 recorded. Now you're probably going to see them released because I have to be quarantined for other reasons. But I'm trying to do this 2 video week thing, adding the tech videos, and I do have the podcast I need to start releasing. So that's the plan. What else we got here? Jason Woo, $5. What do you think of the 2017 BMW 330i right now? Or should I wait for a Camry instead for a daily driver? Personally, what I'm going to say. The new Camry's great, aside from like engine tuning is a little weird and transmission is a little sluggish. That's a car, it's going to hopefully work. That's what I would buy as a daily driver. And then have a weekend car. Save for that weekend car that you don't have to worry about shit and the mileage that you have to like constantly worry about with specialty cars. Have that just stuffed away. If you can do it, that's what I would do. All right. William A. $50, man. I got to set up like some fund for people to give back to something. I don't know what it is, but I will. Thank you very much. Sounds like you'll end up with a GSF. Any update on finding an LFA? Well, Paris Hilton is selling her LFA for $500,000. Maybe I should just buy that. Yeah, I'm about $440,000 short of that. I would love if you know somebody that's in the Chicagoland area that has an LFA that will allow me to do a proper video on it. Tell them. I want to do it. It's one of the cars I want to do the most. And I would just sit there and record the engine and exhaust sound for about 3 hours. What else we got here? Stuart Forbes, $5. Recommendation for my dad. He doesn't use the track, but wants a sporty-ish car. I was thinking LC500 or Carrera T. Depending on your dad's age, if he's a gentleman and needs refinement, quietness, and comfort, or if he's a bigger person, those really you've already named one of the 2 that are the best. The LC500 you could take on a track for like 2 laps. It has a lot of character. The V8 is amazing. And the LC500 convertible is going to be more of that. You're just going to hear it. And the thing's super refined. It's a great car. The Carrera T you can get a manual. That's the big thing with that. That's kind of the deal breaker. If he drives a manual trans, there you go. It's done. It's not going to depreciate too much. It's one of the better riding sports cars. It's super fun. It does everything you need it to do. The only other thing I can think of is, like a C7. Is he like a Corvette dude? Because that would be another one, because it's kind of like those in the American way, and it's V8. It's quick. It handles well, and you can take it to the track. Yeah, that's a tough one. I'm trying to think of anything else off the top of my head, but those are 3 good choices. What else we got? We have Mike Gray. Thoughts on the Mini GP3? Any chances to review? I've asked for that. Actually, I did ask for that a month ago. I'll have to go back in my emails, but I would love to. So, yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that because I got nothing else to say about it. I want to buy. Because I haven't driven it. That's why. I want to buy a 2018 Genesis G80. Should I go 5 liter or 3.3 liter turbo? If you plan on keeping it long term, you go for the 3.3 liter. That's their global motor, volume motor. It's in Hyundai's, Kia's, Genesis, and now there's going to be way more supply, way more parts for it. The technicians and the dealer networks are going to be able to support that engine better. The 5 liter was very low volume. There were some issues with the older ones with oil consumption. But if I didn't care about keeping it long term, the 5 liter, despite it not making as much torque, it's a far better experience. It transforms driving the Genesis and the G90. It just feels like the right engine for that car. It is just insanely heavy. It just feels smooth and it sounds great. That's why I would choose the 5 liter. How much, Frank, $5. How much, he's asking about big black cars, and I love them. Yeah, and I'm going to stay safe. He bought his 5 liter Genesis because of me and absolutely loves it. Well, that was a good prelude to what you just said. I'm glad you love it because I love it too. Lenny S., $5. Mr. Savage, what do you think about the 2020 Acura Ilx? I also want to add that I bought a Mazda 3 hatch based off your review, and it's a great car. If you're talking about the new Mazda 3 hatch, it really is, once you get over the fact that this is not the biggest car on the planet. I mean, that's the biggest deficiency with it. It is just, that car is so special for that segment. Obviously cost is something else to think about, but I love the new Mazda 3. The Civic hatch is great. It's just, you look at it and you're like, man, that's just awkward looking. So, well, I guess the Mazda 3 looks awkward to people too. That's subjective. But yeah, I'm glad you like it. The 2020 Ilx, I'm not a huge fan of it, to be fair. I feel like, I had a problem with the previous Ilx. I hated that car. Just they didn't do enough to separate it from the Civic. And this is better. But I just feel like I would rather have more upscale, luxury car, not this entry level thing, because you look at the new Accord. The new Accord, for example, it's not selling great. In the Mazda 6, those feel like substantial cars that offer a lot of what those entry level luxury cars do. So I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of it. That's what I'm going to say. And that's why. Do you think any manufacturers will fold during the current economic crisis? Ford has dropped down to $5 a share. A Funyun for $5. I think, I don't want to get into the politics of this too much, but I think we live in an age of extremes right now. You're on one side or the other, and there's this really strange area that's just a black hole of not a lot of good middle ground. And you're seeing that right now. There's these extremes because I think a lot of it has to do with liability. We're, at least in America, there's this liability. Nobody wants to be at fault for anything. So you have this bandwagoning of everybody has to stop, everything's stopping, grinding to a halt. And I think the side effect of that is grinding to a halt. And, this is, again, it's not about the politics or what you believe in or the health part of it. You're already having a problem with the economy, the car economy, and then bringing it to a halt is really, really going to hurt. It's going to hurt. And I don't know that, I think you're actually going to start to see some serious problems financially, either with suppliers, the supply chain failing. Suppliers aren't going to get paid. You're going to have the worker issue. I don't know. It's a huge problem it's got so many layers that you could probably spend an hour just talking about it on here. And I think the big three is going to have a hard time digging out of this. You forget stock prices. I don't know what you do coming back if this drags out longer than like a month, because, you know, you look at small business like malls and like real jobs, like the people that are in the kind of the middle income, the lower income, those are the people that are going to suffer. And those are the people that typically like need to buy shit or like cars and all that. And you cut them out and you cut that buying out of there. I don't know, man, that it's a tough place to be. I would not want to be I wouldn't want to be anybody right now running like a major business that's based on, you know, consumer buying, not like corporate buying. It's scary. So yes, I think you're going to see some serious financial issues for sure. James, thanks, man, again for the $5. Paul, when is the 991 GT3 video coming out? June. I know, I'm sorry. That's a long wait. What's the best latte for max gains? Anything with oat milk? Triple shot of oat milk or skim almond milk with any type of minty extract or whipped cream. Yeah, you get oat milk and then you get dairy whipped cream on top would be the ultimate. All right. David T. I have an 18 BMW 340 X-Drive 6-speed manual. Do you agree that it'll likely be the last ever all-wheel drive manual i6 inline 6 BMW? That's my feeling, and it makes me sad. I don't know, man. I feel like BMW is one of the few that's clinging on to the manual trends, and maybe Porsche. You'll see that. It's going to become that niche where I talked to Toyota about this, and they said the same thing. Like, the more automotive companies bail out of the manual transmission game, you're still going to have a market for the people that do. So while you'll lose some, you're still going to gain like that 2%. That's a lot of people, 2%. Like the Corvette's a great example, right? You're going to lose the people that really want a manual transmission. They're not going to get a C8. They're going to buy a C7, or they might go over to another manufacturer that has a manual. So it's like that moving of the needle of where people are going for stuff. So I don't think that it'll be the last, but I could be wrong. Free Steve, what should Ford done with their cars, and what should they do with their new SUV? What should Ford done with their cars, and what should they do with the SUV 2010 Ford Fusion that they should have kept that sporty look? Sorry, yeah, the way that it was typed is I should have read it just how I wanted to read it so it came across clear. But again, it's like this corporate mentality, right? You have to choose when you're a big company, you have to make a decision on scale for the next like 5 to 10 years. So Ford made the gamble of like, look, we're going to just fold on cars. And we're going to take the gamble that we are going to put all of it in trucks and SUVs. And it's a little bit different now than it used to be, because these manufacturers all have the ability to scale out their global platforms, their global architectures. In not America, obviously, we still have smaller cars that are on these global platforms. So Ford, gas prices, we had a catastrophe and gas prices were $10 a gallon. Nobody could afford SUVs, and you needed a compact car that got 50 miles or 40 miles to the gallon, and people went to small cars again. Ford could bring up production. They could potentially have the tooling in certain factories to start rolling those cars out again based on other countries' design just to get cars out. And I think it's easier now to do that. It might take them a year to react versus like 4 years before. So the fact that they killed cars isn't like necessarily like they can still build cars if they needed to. They're not that stupid. I feel like it's a lost opportunity, but again, it's moving the needle. They're going to lose the buyers that want cars to Toyota, Hyundai, the other companies that are making them. So that's kind of the way that I feel about it. $5 from IV, what do you think of the Camaro Alpha chassis? It's great. I mean, that's another one. It's weird. Like GM did it right. Like I know you won't hear me say that too often, but GM really put the engineering and time into that. Now, sadly, they have a couple products on it that aren't all that usable right now or all that popular. And some of it's exterior design, interior design, the badge on it. I think if you took that and you built it out like something more appealing, it's a great foundation. Great foundation. How do you fund your videos? Also, S2000 CR or GT4? So when I left my job and I did this full time, I spent almost every single penny I have or had to budget and buy all the stuff that I need to do videos. And every single dollar, almost every single dollar that I get now goes back into this to eventually build it out where I don't need to invest so much money into it. And I have to constantly keep evolving what I'm doing. So it's hard because this shit gets stale. And I talked to the Straight Pipes about this so many times about what do you do when your popularity starts to fall? So, you know, every thing in life, you'll see this, and you hit this peak and then it comes down. What do you do when you've maxed out the people, people get tired of you, they're bored, and somebody else comes out, something new comes out? How do you keep that there and going? And that's something I'm very interested in doing. So a lot of my investment, at least in money wise, is in things to try to do things differently. And then I also will reach a limit with my own skill level. And I'm kind of like, sadly, need to deal with that. There's some things I absolutely need to spend time on to do this year, investing in my own abilities, more so the equipment. And I'm just rambling. So I'm funding my own stuff through ad revenue, almost exclusively from Google. And then Patreon support is that missing link that fills in all the gap. And that's the only way I can do this. Now I could go out and, shill, or there's a lot of opportunities to sell out with products and all this shit. And I'm not an influencer. I don't care about that. I don't want to push stuff. I'm going to be doing tech videos. And so the Dell thing, you're seeing that in the new videos now, this whole Dell thing. And I'm going to do a video about the Dell stuff. I've been using Dell equipment for 25 years. And that's no joke. I'm in the place of having to support it and support all these vendors my entire tech career. Every single piece of equipment that I've done any video on, the fact that I can go anywhere and edit on my laptop, I can run it 24/7. Literally, I've had my laptop on for almost a year straight, literally running. I have had other Dell pieces of equipment that run 24/7, full bore. Never had issues with it. And I'm talking about I'm not talking about the consumer shit. I'm talking about the workstation stuff. There's no way I would be able to do what I did without support from them in the past and in the present, and be able to do these videos going mobile, on the road or wherever, and do 4K high quality stuff real time. The Dell shit that I've been using and have been using is allowing me to do that. So you're gonna see a big video about all my experience in tech, why I'm using the shit that I'm using, and why I believe in it, not because it's a shill, but that's the only way. Literally, I'm not getting paid, by anybody, and I don't want to be. So I have to be creative in how I make money outside of that without selling out. Sorry, that's a really long answer, but I wanted to clarify that. Feltstone Nick, early V8 Advantage manual or as a daily driver? Dude, you better have some extra cash for the trans on that and all the service that goes into it. I mean, it's a badass car, don't get me wrong, but I don't know that that's a car you'd stick in the garage for weekend jaunts, go wherever you're going to go, to the zoo for a couple hours, and don't put more than 100 miles on it a week. What else we got here? Wow, man, there's so many questions. You guys are going to kill me. I know. I'm sorry this is taking so long. But hey, what else are we going to do? We're just sitting here all alone in the dark. Well, actually, no, I'm pretty lit up. Mr. Brackley, thank you for coming back for $11.20. Okay, let's talk. Can you talk us through the process of choosing a daily driver for yourself in under 2 minutes in this live chat, then 90 minutes on the next podcast? Okay, I'm sorry. It's a good point. I have 2 sports cars, one that will be going away, but that's 2000 staying, and I don't drive those. Okay, so if I want a fun car, I already have those. It doesn't get much more fun than those to me. So the problem is I have had a problem getting a car that's practical. My Civic was practical, but it's a 2-door, right? What are you going to do? The trunk's big, but I can't throw people in any of the cars I have. So now it's a 4-door, which I also want. I want a bigger car that has that V8 experience, that's still quick, has the sound, but obviously loses the nimbleness because it's a big car. And I want reliability, and I don't want to lose my ass in reselling it if I'm tired of it. So that's the way I approach it. I need reliable. I don't want to have to worry about it. It's got to be comfortable. It's got to sound good. It's still got to have performance. But I'm willing to sacrifice a lot of the performance because I already have those weekend cars. So I need that daily driver that's going to work 100% of the time and not be a total pain in the ass. That's the way I look at it. Hopefully that was under 2 minutes, dude. Michael C. Do you miss your E92 M3? Such a Goldilocks car. Replace mine with an M2C, which I like a lot, but I miss the feel and specialness of the E92. I don't miss the car at all. At all. I think if I was going to have another E92 M3, it would have to be 100% like gutted, like really, really gutted. And I'm talking like so you can feel everything in that car, because that was my biggest problem with the E92 M3 is like it was a great daily driver, but it had this amazing motor, a decent trans, and everything felt so filtered through that car that I couldn't enjoy the pureness of what was special about it. That heart was under the hood. So I'd love to just have like a gutted one that was just felt like a tin can, so you could feel the vibration and the specialness of it. That's the only way I would get another one, but I get why people love it. I really do. Kevin S. I have a stock S2000 CR. Will I regret selling it to pick up a Civic Type R, possibly a limited? I'll give you just a short answer. If your 2000 CR, your CR is low miles and it doesn't have 1 million miles on it, and it's in really good shape, that's a car that you will absolutely regret unloading. You just have to keep it. Just keep it. I'm telling you, make the excuse to keep it. Figure out how to put it somewhere, store it if you're not driving it, and then figure out a way to generate enough money to go and buy a Type R somehow as that second car. Because once that CR is gone, you're not going to find, and especially in the next 5 years, any CR you're going to find you're going to get bent over on. So just keep it. That's my advice. That's coming from somebody that's sold too many S2000s. Niam LaVenture, $5. Toyota Tacoma or Nissan Frontier for reliability? Oh, man. The Frontier is pretty reliable. But I'd have to, that's almost a tie for me. I'm a Toyota. I like Toyotas, but that's really almost a tie. I would skew 60% Toyota, 40% Nissan, but you're not going to go wrong, really go wrong. Money Badger, how much, or $5, thank you. How much quieter is the BRZ than the S2K at 80 miles an hour? Considering switching my S2K to a BRZ because I take a lot of road trips, I would say it's the S2000 at 80 miles an hour is probably like 90 decibels, depending on the road. Of course, depends on pavement surface. The BRZ is probably going to drop a good 10 decibels. It's much, much quieter of a car at 80 miles an hour. No doubt it's way, way more refined. Frank, Lexington Steel, Peter North, or Ron Jeremy? Man, so I guess I can answer this. As a younger gentleman, I was interested in adult paraphernalia, and I guess my friends were into some weird stuff when I was young. I'm talking like teenager young. And then of course the internet came along and it just turned into like a mess. So the big like historic like porn actors, I never really was into any of them because I thought it was kind of gross. Like Ron Jeremy is just like, everybody knows who he is, but he's just gross, you know? So I don't, yeah. For $2, that's what you're getting. All right, $2, JXT24, $20 or 2020 Civic Si or EcoBoost Mustang or Forte GT is a daily driver. Those are much different cars. If you want something that's going to probably, well, it depends on your age. Okay, if you're younger, you're going to get killed on the Mustang. The Civic is going to be close behind. So as a daily driver, the Forte would make the most sense because your insurance is not going to be so high. But at the same time, the Forte GT is nowhere near as fun as the Civic Si, and the Mustang is rear-wheel drive. So I'd probably choose, if as a real usable daily driver, I would choose the Si. I think that's the best balance of all of it. But from a performance perspective, you'd take an EcoBoost Mustang. Obviously, rear-wheel drive, you can tune the hell out of that thing. And I mean, it doesn't sound great, but I mean, it's fast. So there you go. Remy TV, $5. What do you think Ford only going with CUVs? Here in Canada, Ford has no more vehicles under $25,000, effectively exiting the affordable car market. I don't know what Ford's doing. I talked about this earlier. I don't get it. A lot of their products feel like they just phoned it in. They just phoned it in. Maybe that's that. Like, I hear this a lot. Ford has become a commodity brand. Of course, not all products are bad. Not all of them are bad. There's some good ones. But overall, when you look at some of the like what FCA is doing, GM's doing, and Ford's doing with their like really like lower tier cars that have this insane MSRP, like we're doing, the Jeep Compass comes out Friday. And we were just laughing at the price of this thing. Like, really, how is this sticker this high? How? You know, it feels like they are. It's like some of these vehicles or products are like the fast food equivalent. They're just cheap, quick garbage, but with a high price tag now. So I don't know, man. It's frustrating as hell to me. I really wish there was a way to make things cheaper, really indicative of what they really are valued at, but that's not the place we are right now. Thank you, Alex, $5.99, just for no reason. Thank you. The dude 365 donated $10, looking to start getting into track days autocross. I also need a starter car I can sink some money time into. Looking specifically at NB Miatas. Do you have any suggestions for around $5,000 or $6,000 to start? If this is a very difficult question, if you don't have any driving experience, if you're younger, I always say this a million times and people are tired of hearing it. Get in carts, spec carts, go-karting outdoors. Absolutely 100% do that first before you go spending a lot of money on cars. If you've never been in a car and you've never driven one in a performance manner, take that money and try to do a driving school. Some type of real performance driving school so you can get a taste of what your skill level is. You typically want to start in front-wheel drive cars. If you're not good, if you feel like you have a great connection with a car, go right into a Miata. That's the best thing you can get. You can find NBs for cheap. You can find some NA would also be good, and Cs are expensive. So NB or NA they're basically the same cars. I mean, there's not a lot of changes. You just get the 1.6. That's a great place to start. But if not, you can find a lot of front-wheel drive, like fun, older, like beater Civics, like 8th gen Civics that had an LSD in it that drive pretty good, and you have a safe way to experience that. But yeah, that's what I would say. Miata, SI for front wheel drive, driving school, and karting. Get into some karting league where you're at and learn how to wheel to wheel drive and be competitive in that. And you're going to thank me later. Just let's leave it at that. What else we got here? Alex, again, dude, you just keep throwing $5.99 everywhere. This is going to be a great. I'm going to take that $5.99. I'm going to buy myself some anti-aging properties cream, whatever. James Adler again, bro. Get a Chevy SS. That's Scott territory. Scott would be a Chevy SS, man. He would pull up and he would just drive my body over in that thing. And then I'd be like, oh, bro, I'm broken. I'd probably break something on it. He'd have to do brake lines, and then he would sell it. SB 199. Ever making an E46 M3 video? If not, experiences with it. Yes. Actually, I think Jack has one scheduled over the next 2 months. So I'll tell you then. Nathan McAllister, 999. Do you think too many manufacturers are going over the top with styling to stand out? I feel like most brands go a little too far with the models at the moment. I am going to quickly say this. 2 brands come to mind. The 8th Gen Civic was pretty cool. The 9th Gen Civic, Honda just cost cut the hell out of it because they thought the economy people wanted a cheap car, and it turned into one of the most hideous modern Honda products. So what did they do? They made the 10th generation Civic, which was a complete reversal. And I talked about this at the beginning of this live stream. It's typically 2 extremes. Right now in our society, it's polar extremes. There's a very bad middle ground. So the other car that comes to mind is the Elantra. So the real popular Elantra, and I can't remember, I think it was 2010. It was good. It was that good middle ground. So the next generation, they're well, people want a mature Elantra. So they did the same thing with the Sonata. And it's oh, now it's mature upscale. And it kind of killed what made the other one good. And it was so conservative. I mean, it was a good car. It's just so conservative. Now, now you look at the new one and you're I mean, it's interesting, but it's, again, to that extreme to get attention because manufacturers they can't just be bland anymore. So the only way they can do it is with styling and insane amount of tech and features. So that's what you're seeing. I think it's gone. I think it's gone off the very, very off the reservation with stuff. Badapov, thoughts about Illinois, Chicago economy. It sucks. It sucks. It sucks. Property taxes are insane. People can't afford them. I think we're the 2nd highest in the country on property taxes. And then, there's the total tax rate of everything put together. But in terms of property taxes, if we're not the highest, we're the 2nd highest in terms of that. So if you have a $250,000 house here, your property taxes are going to be pushing $9,000 a year on average. So, $250,000 house, that's cheap on the cheaper end out here. So average is $350, $400, and then you're paying $12,000 a year taxes. Insurance is higher now, and it's friggin' nuts. And then the cost of living and all this stuff is expensive here too. That's why so many people are moving out. Running a business here sucks. But again, people stick around because of family. What do you do? But yeah, that's what I'm going to say about that. I know Tesla doesn't do press cars. Has any offered you a Tesla for review? Are you interested in reviewing the Model 3 or Y? Yes, this year you're going to see Tesla. Not press cars, but I'm going to take offers or borrow them and do full videos on them. That's all I'm going to say. I kind of talked about that to death in other live streams. I don't want to bore you with it, but yes, I'm going to do them. Austin Sullivan, $10. Have you ever been into motorcycles? No. And one of the reasons is I know that I would be. And it's one more thing to add on that I don't possibly have time for. And more importantly, and I'm going to be completely honest, ever since I was a kid, I had a hard time on 2 wheels, balance-wise. I just, whatever reason, we're not designed to be great at everything. So I would have to put so much work in to be good at riding a motorcycle safely the way that I'd want to ride it. I would almost bet that I would kill myself on one. I would be dead. So that's why I don't touch it. I just know myself enough to admit my own limitations with it. So I don't go there. But that's it. I'm gonna leave it with that. What else we got? Man. Adam S, $4.99. Yeah. Love my 2.5 liter 5-speed Jetta. What's your favorite odd motor? This is weird, and it's probably because I was younger. The old Ford Festiva with the Mazda. What the hell Mazda motor was in it? God, I don't remember what liter it was, what size it was, but God, that thing was ridiculous. It just sounded horrible and revved like weird, and it was just like so shitty, but I loved it. I don't know what it was about it. Like that generation, those older like four poppers that were just you wanted to claw your eyes out like listening to them. There was something funny about driving them. Like the new ones are not funny at all. Like you're like, oh God, this is horrible. Like it's not even funny, like bad in a good way. The old ones were just bad funny. So that's my thing. What fun daily driver should I get after my Golf GTI lease ends? I'm considering a Mazda and just telling potential passengers to go away. Yeah, that's what I would do. The ND2, I think you'll really like. Just again, drive it. I'm trying to think of what else in that price range. Try the Veloster N and the Type R. I know those are like, it screams like it's just the polar opposite of the GTI, but those are two to drive. What the hell else is there? I feel like you almost have to go to like something luxury from the GTI because it's kind of a refined car. But that's what I'm going to say about that. Miata, just get an orange one. Alex, thank you again. Blew the engine on my 2017 Hyundai Santa Fe 2-liter Sport. Hyundai replaced the engine under warranty with $100,000. Would you keep the SUV or sell it? If you're not going to lose your ass, sell it. That would be my advice. Hyundai has some weird shit going on with motors. Like certain ones just go forever. They don't burn a drop of oil, and then some literally just consume oil, grenade themselves. It's very strange. I don't know if it's just production capacity because Hyundai's always maxed out on production capacity. Always. So in terms of their engine plants, they got something weird. But again, it's like what I talked about in the beginning of this podcast. You will never get the straight answer from manufacturers in terms of what their real issues are, how many people complain about them. I would love to see a database of, we got this amount of Hyundai Sonatas in with this engine problem, with this, and you could actually see it. And they had to report that. Like they literally had to report it to some agency for oversight. Even if you didn't do anything to like make sure they're doing it right, but at least the consumers could see it to make a better decision than just, oh, here's $40,000 and let me wait 3 years to find out what a piece of shit this car is or not. So anyway, yeah. Whoa. Man. Any chance of getting your hands on a Caterham? Yes. Actually, me and Jack were talking about there's a guy in Seattle or Washington that has a Caterham that we were going to do something on. And there's some people locally. I think it would be fun. I know people probably wouldn't watch it. I'd have to be very careful how I did the video, but yes. Thanks again. All right. So Mariah, I don't even know what's happening here. Your opinion on luxury cars going front wheel drive? That's stupid. I don't think a luxury car should be front wheel drive. Thank you. All right. Now let's get into real people questions. Okay. I'm going to go back. If you have real questions now, I'm going to try to go back as far as it will allow me to go. I don't think luxury cars should be front wheel drive. I really don't. Like maybe entry level, but not real. So if you have questions now, start doing them for real, and I will start answering them. I don't know where we're going to start this, but if you're still on and you have a question, let's do it. Any chance of an S209 review? Not likely. Sorry. I tried to get it, and who they only had it in the Detroit press fleet, and what one press outlet destroyed it. So that was my last chance. I do have a good relationship with Subaru's rep. I could do it if I went out of state, but then, I can't do a real video. But I would love to because I love the RA and I know it was a ripoff. Let's start here. Aftermarket warranties. Some are really good, and accepted everywhere. They pay, they're really fair, and they're affordable. Like USA had some where I had it on my M3, and it was only $2,000 for 75,000 miles, and it covered everything, electronics and everything, and it saved my ass at the end. So for that $2,000, if I lost the rod bearing spun, $20,000 for a motor replacement, it would have covered 19,500 of that. So that $2,000 investment was good. But if you're getting into $5,000 and like even if you got into a $5,000 warranty, and you can get a motor rebuilt for like $3,500, it's kind of a waste. So you have to weigh what kind of car you're getting to do it. What else we got here? What do you think about the car, the Nissan shit with the ex-CEO? I don't know. I mean, that's typical like corporate bullshit. I mean, like if you're running a company and you get that greedy, like I think it's just the power thing. Like I'm not wired that way. Like for me, I don't get it. I think the guy has irreparably hurt Nissan, and they're already not doing well. And whether you like them or not, there's a lot of people employed there. And I know a lot of people in the US that are employed there. They have a factory in Tennessee. It's like kicking the people that are working there down by being so fucking stupid. And that's all I'm going to say about it. So I recently stopped drinking bottled water because I got a water filtration system in my house, and I'm really guilty of drinking too much bottled water. So I spent too much money on getting reverse osmosis and filters, and now I refill my plastic bottles. I need to get a real container. It's long overdue, but yes, this is tap water filtered now. I need it. Jesus, can't even pat myself on the back anymore. All right. Oh, I was reading a bot. Sorry. There's a lot of bots in here. That's really, I can't even ban them all. Would you ever recommend to buy a Honda Civic hybrid over a Prius? No. Well, no. The Toyota hybrid system is just the best thing if you care about that. SRT 4 Neon, any good? If you could find one that wasn't molested, there's some really cool shit about that. The interior is horrendous. It's horrible. The seats are great. Transmission's okay. Actually pretty decent. It's got equal length half shafts, so you don't get a lot of the weird like pulling and wheel hop. There's some really good things about it, but that car is a fucking tin can. It's something else to drive though. I really enjoyed it, but good luck trying to find one that's not destroyed. Dude, I wish, it's weird, like, because Google does a good job with spam filtering, but maybe because I got an email, and you'll probably see this, that Google is actually, their human review team has been cut because of all this. So these videos that are coming out on YouTube they're getting automated filtered versus human reviewed now. So there's going to be a lot of like problems with that over the next couple months. I know that there's no human review on live chats, but it's very strange. Nissan will make a good movie. Yeah. Over this whole incident. Oh, for sure. Bought a 2017 Chrysler Pacifica after watching your review. And anything to watch out with this generation yet? Thanks from DeKalb County. I've had a couple people tell me they've had engine problems with them, which it's the Pentastar V6. So really that's a mass produced motor. So it could have been a fluke. I've heard of weird transmission issues and programming issues that they've been fixing, and mostly electronic stuff. Keep an eye on, just check your oil. I mean, that's like any friggin' car. Just do it every time every 5,000 miles, check it, or check it initially, make sure it's not low. And transmission weirdness, that would be the only thing I would say. Other than that, if you're not having that stuff and you got like 20, 30, 40,000 miles on it, you're good. Is it possible to buy a Canadian car in the US? Mercedes sells the GLC S63S with normal the normal SUV. I don't know what importing is into the States. That I honestly, I don't know. I think there's a lot of bullshit to import a car to Canada or vice versa. So yeah, you'd have to do your research on that. Have you driven old Audi cars, Turbo 5, S4, RS4, S? Yes, I have, and I really like some of the Turbo 5. I haven't spent enough time in it. The S4s, the RS4, I really like the RS4, and I really like the RS6. They have this strange like personality to them that has this like unrefined feel. Like it doesn't feel like every single corner of this car was like somebody was finessing and like on a spreadsheet of what to do next. It just has this like weird character to it that a lot of cars don't. So that's what I like about them. Have you driven that 6-speed manual Chevy SS? It's so rewarding to drive. It's like an E90 or E39 M5 with a shitty interior, better steering, and better limit behavior, great steering response. I didn't drive a Chevy SS. I never did, and I want to. And there's some people that have offered me to drive it because it's like a cult car. It really is. It's like this cult car now. So yes, I would love to. Thinking of getting rid of the 328 IGT for an SUV, X3 Atlas or CX5. Probably you would like an X3. That makes more sense to me because you're coming from a BMW. I like CX5s. This Mike guy that comes on here, total clown show. Mike, I'm going to order you food from online, and then I'm going to send it to your house. And then they're going to put up an easy up because they don't want to come to your door. They're going to stand outside your door. They're going to put an easy up, so you have to come out and do this weird exchange through plastic for your food. That's what I'm going to do. All right. Geese, is the 370Z HTC only true driver's car, like back to basics? It's one of the few. Yeah, 370 is like, I mean, it is. It's an old car. So on the new market, if you haven't, like if you're younger and you've never driven these older cars and you can get a chance to get a 370, you might like be like, oh, what the hell is this? But there's something strange that people love about it. Nissan CVT is big trash. Don't disagree with that. Don't drink bottled water unless it's Icelandic because we need the money right now. My dad drinks Icelandic. Let's put it this way. He had some serious health issues, like serious. And after a while, he started seeing some doctors from Northwestern that were not just like cardboard, like, oh, we got to give you more medication, more this. They were like, there's been more studies on like pH balance and alkaline waters and low inflammation foods and a lot of this stuff. And he started to switch like to more, it's common sense shit. And he started switching over to Icelandic from like just his tap water that were in his area was basically like drinking urine and feces, and trying to eat foods that weren't causing, typical issues with his body. And ever since he switched, he's been, knock on wood, pretty good, along with real medicine, all the drugs and treatments he was on. So he started drinking, and I'm like, why are you spending all this money on? And then I started drinking it, just the side effect of it. And it's amazing. So if I do, I will make sure that you're getting the money from it. Just use an Absolute bottle for water. I should, because it's glass and I look real tough. Is an all-wheel drive car based on rear-wheel drive platform better than based on front? Yes. Is any rear-wheel drive platform is typically more balanced. I don't want to say that because that's a blanket statement. It's typically like if you look at BMW, Audi, some of the Mercedes, like the G80 platform for Hyundai, these cars have a more natural like rotation feel when you're driving them. So when you do front wheel drive architecture with all wheel drive in the back, what you still get is just like this, you get this plowing feel. And then the all-wheel drive transfers, and it kind of like pulls you out of it. So you start to go off the road, and then it kind of corrects. Where rear-wheel drive, you rotate through the turn, and you don't get this like plowing effect. You get this real natural rotation to it, and that's why the rear-wheel drive, all-wheel drive systems feel more stable. Typically, you can be way more stupid in those than the front-wheel drive cars, at least in my experience. Is RAV4 Prime one to wait for? Yeah, I would say so, because I love the Prius Prime, because it's like the best transitional vehicle between a full EV and you still don't have, like, if you're in an area we don't have charging infrastructure, you still get EV stuff to work and back. And then you can still, like, if you go on an extended trip, you have it. It works really, really well. So the RAV4 would be amazing, obviously. I'm not a bot. I know you're not. Is 2020 coronavirus a good daily driver? That must be a new product. Never heard of it. Thoughts on the Charger Scat Pack? I love it. Besides the fleet car interior, amazing. It's so fun. I mean, it feels like shit. It feels like an old car, but it's like that 370 thing. It's like the 370 American muscle version of that. That's what it is. Is Hyundai Toyota now? No, not yet. Not yet. They got a ways to go. I you know what, really, with the way that I'm looking through this, I can't pull out all the bots. I can't even, dude. I guess if anybody looks like a girl, then clearly they're a bot, because there's not going to be any real females on here that have the thumbnails that these girls do. Okay. Good day. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. But some of these, I just want to click on all these funny bots that want to chat with me. Okay. We got rid of a couple. Oh, here's another one. Jesus Christ. Why do the bots have to be girls? I mean, I thought we were trying to change all this. Why don't the bots be guys? God. I have to do so much. Look at this. I have to use a mouse to do this, and then I have to right click, and I have to click things. You know how much work that is? Oh, by the way, okay, before I get into the last batch of questions, because this is running really late. Here we go. You ready? Autographed Jason Fenske pinup photo. Yes. It's going over my bed. And he's holding up something from the Fast and the Furious. He sent me this. So if you're on here late, you got to see that first. And what else do we have here? It's this photo. Oh, a small one. And it says winning. That's right. So if we ever get that meet, if we don't have to cancel the meet, he's going to be there. Thanks, Jason. What do we got? Okay, last batch of questions. Scott, currently own an NC2 MX-5. Would like to add a 997 911 CT2S for a second vehicle. Should I add anything else that compares to the 911? Really, no. If you're going from that, you're all these in-between cars. You might as well just skip right to that, because you get into, what's the upgrade to a Miata? Well, S2000, Caymans, 718s, whatever you want to call it. That would be an option. GT350 if you want to have spare motors in stock. But really, just go right to the Porsche. Thank you, DTT4. So then Genesis is not Lexus yet either. No. Even the new GV80 and G80s, they're trying to create an identity finally that's not a copy and paste job. But they are definitely, the big reason they're not is the resale value is fucking horrendous. The depreciation on those cars, dude, it's so bad. Like, I wanted a G80. Like, I talked about this. The G80s were like $28,000. Like it was $65,000 new when you fully loaded it up, and those cars were going for $28,000 like 3 years later, like less than 3 years. And it's just unbelievable. Just unbelievable. All right. I'm going to cut this off in 5 minutes. I'm going to set a timer. I know you're probably ready to pass out. It's okay. Because nobody's doing anything anymore anyway. You know, we're just sitting at home. We don't have to work. 5 minutes. All right. Oh, man. Where did I get? Good. Jesus. Coming from an S2000, what powerful car would you get to replace it? I think I just answered that. The GT350, I think you're going to like way better than the E93 M3. If you come to Europe, would you like to drive an Alpine A110? Yes. I loved, as much as I didn't love all the repairs I had to do to my Lotus, that would make sense. It's very similar. Is Subaru bringing back the Forester XT with the 2.4 liter? Probably. GSF or a daily? Yes. You just have to deal with bad fuel economy if you drive like a dick. Geese, what do you think of the Fiat 124? I liked certain aspects of it, but one thing I didn't like was the way that the engine was tuned, the turbo in it. It's like basically here's your RPM band and here's your torque band, and that's about all. Because once you get out of that, like there's nothing happening on the top end. So I just didn't enjoy that. I felt like the car was better, more peaky. But if you're just as like a tool around car, it was okay. Where we got here, do you still get Nissan press vehicles? Yeah, I just did a Rogue. I think. 2020 CTR is 4 doors. What would that ever be on your list with smaller wheels? Yeah. The Type R has really grown on me when you realize how good it is underneath. Like the actual what they did mechanical engineering wise with suspension and all that. It's definitely, for a front wheel drive car, of course, it's in a league of its own. It's just like we have these arguments all the time. And Scott, actually I was talking to Mike, who was on this chat. Mike wants a Type R. Of course, he doesn't want to spend all that money, but he loves the idea of it and doesn't mind the look of the car. Whereas me and Scott, like we kind of went through the 90s with all these, you know, ridiculously like stupid looking like hot hatches that were modified that you want to puke on them. So when I see the Type R, I see this like the extreme. I don't, you know, I can't get past the looks, and that's really rare for me. But in terms of a driving car, it's amazing. It really is so good for what it is. GV80, thoughts on Genesis GV and brand as a whole? I think they're in the right direction. I really do. I think the GV80 and the new G80 is going to put them over the hump, like that slump they're in with that brand. But best car speaker for the money. Your 3D Bang & Olufsen, the higher end Bang & Olufsen 3D audio, the Meridian higher end audio, and just the Bowers & Wilkins really is the best for your money, because they don't have the 3D audio part, but just the overall like balance of that in pretty much every single car they do is really, really good. The Burmeisters are also, I mean, if you can get in like a Mercedes that has a Burmeister, that's like, okay, I think that if objectively is one of the best. But again, those are the three. You're asking systems. Well, Focal is pretty much a winner in my brain. I only have a girl picture because I'm a Taylor Swift fanatic, and I use her picture on every account, not a bot. Well, I didn't ban you, so you're lucky. I share the same birthday as Taylor Swift, so me and her, you know what that means. I don't even know what that means. You need moderators. Yeah, you're not kidding. What's the most performance 30K USD can buy from the used market? Probably a C6. Some type of C6 variation would be my guess. Do you think you could make money on flipping cars? I saw 2011 yes, you can make money. I'm not even going to go there. If you have the money to invest and you're super smart and have the time to do it, you can make money on flipping cars, but you got to start small, one at a time. Build it up. Once you get more money and capital and you're not out of pocket for it, you can, but it's a finicky, tricky business. Why do the bots only have to, oh, okay, ISF versus M3? I don't know. Depends on the M3. Like the new one, like the 2019 M3 that I did, I think it's F80. Really good. Amazing. Better than the ISF, but the ISF, of course, it's going to be around in 20 years. What do we got? Oh, time's up. All right. So I got to get to these paid questions. Currently, what the hell? I know there's a couple more paid questions I missed. I'll do those two, and then I got to go. Dan is a Patreon supporter. This guy, I'm just going to say that he's bailed my ass out. So if you ever see him in there, tell him a big thanks. He didn't bail me out of jail yet, but thanks, Dan. Could the 2012 Civic Si 6B possibly be a diamond in the rough, K engine, independent rear suspension, and a manual? Yeah. The only problem with no, wait a second. I'm thinking, what year did that end? I have to look it up because I don't remember when that ended. Because I think the 2012 is the 9th Gen SI, isn't it? Can't remember the cutoff of the 6th and the 8th. I'm sure somebody's going to tell me before I can even Google it. Yeah, I would say I like the 6th Gen 2-liter better. It just felt more Honda to me. But it is a diamond in the rough because it was like the bastard generation of the Civic. So in a way, like it's not as popular. But it can be made very fun to drive. It's like that. It's like that middle child syndrome for the Civic. So yes, it is a diamond in the rough. Old coworker is already hard up for cash. Offered me his 2010 GTR for $34K. Original owner, 30,000 miles, all stock. Also, I work in tech, and it's a total shit show right now. Yeah, I'm glad I'm not in it. I wouldn't want to be dealing with this shit. That's unbelievable that he offered that. So I don't know what it's worth. Do you know what it's worth right now? I'm going to tell you this. If he's a good friend and he's giving it to you for way under value and you can afford to buy it, sit on it, wait for shit to get better for him, and then sell it back to him for what you bought it for when things are better for him, if he really loves the car. So that way he doesn't just sell it to some asshole and he loses out. At least you can give it back to him if he's in a bad spot. But if he's a dickhead and he is a total douchebag and you can steal the car from him, then go for it and sell it and have fun, or sell it on your own. But if he's a good dude, maybe try to help him out with it. Because I'd hate to give up a car that I loved and in a bad spot, and that's me. But then again, I like cars. Second gen 86 BRZ. Yeah, supposedly it's coming. Supposedly it's coming. I can't believe they're doing a second one. I mean, I don't think anybody can believe it. And, you look at what Subaru is, and you're kind of like, oh, God, they're going to put a 2.4 in, a turbo. I'm just not going to think about it. When it comes out, I'm sure it will be very interesting like the first one was. And as long as it's affordable, like when, in retrospect, think about that. When the FRS came out, it was $25,000. That's insane. Like really, like now, especially when you look at what you can get for $25,000. I mean, you're looking at like a base fucking Ford Escape, like shit like that, or like a little bit specced out like shitty CUV for $25,000 in the sports car market. Aside from the Miata, rear wheel drive, there's nothing. So, I really appreciate that. So I'm hoping that it's not going to be like this, another $35,000, $40,000 car again, but we'll see. But with that said, I know that a lot of people. Well, yeah, I know that FRS is expensive now. It's gone up, but Anyway, I really appreciate it. Thanks everybody for thanking Dan. And thanks for coming on and listening to me ramble. I know that I didn't get through every question. It's very hard to go through this, and I did try to get through everybody's paid questions again because it's like you look like a total dick not doing that. So you'll see a trailer next week and kind of an introduction to Tech Wednesdays next Wednesday. So be ready for that. It's going to add some diversity of content, and it's going to be fun for me in a way to expand my skill set, which I already have. I know a lot about this stuff, but a different skill set for making videos. And then I will update. I'll probably do another live stream to announce the meet on June 21st if it's going to happen. If the country is on lockdown and people are going crazy still by the end of April, if we don't have it resolved by then I'm not going to talk about it. But hopefully June 21st, you guys have something to look forward to in Joliet, Autobahn, that whole day. If you don't have anything going on, lock it down now, and then just be ready because there's going to be a limited number of spots for this, given all the stuff that we're doing. Anyway, thank you so much for everybody coming on. What happened to Scott? Scott's going to be on in the Equinox video. And the updated Type R is, I like the one without the spoiler. I like the yellow one. I mean, it's hard not to like the yellow and the Type Rs. But anyway, thank you again. I'll talk to you guys sometime in the near future. And yeah, that's about it. I'm going to take you around real quick.